As the conflict around the birth of the new Omni King continues, Vegeta discovers that he has unknowingly committed one of the greatest sins in the history of the multiverse. It's gonna be a nightmare for Universe 7. I mean, there's Goku, who was meddled with and kind of taken in the Omni Key, which was never supposed to be his in the first place. And then there's Vegeta, who unlocked one of the 4 forbidden celestial techniques. Gohan and Piccolo were the first to realize how dreadful the situation actually is. The Grand Priest is the mediator of the multiverse, and it was only a matter of time before he himself realized what was going on. And yet, Vegeta himself steps up and reveals that technique, hence in turn provoking the Grand Priest without reservation. That's pretty much what's been going on and the prelude to what's going to happen next. Definitely be sure to check out all of the previous parts of our Dragon Ball Super God of Destruction of Vegeta Saga What If you haven't already, to catch up on the entire series, and be sure to turn on those notifications and subscribe to never miss another upload as soon as they go live. Without further ado, at this current moment, after the Grand Priest released his power, everyone is taken aback. The Grand Priest is quite literally manipulating the space-time continuum around them. So this is what Gohan meant when he said that the Grand Priest can harness the tangibility of the multiverse. Gohan and Piccolo were obviously frustrated at how Vegeta just spilled the beans like that, but more than that, they were terrified of what may happen next. Destroyer Vegeta, I apologize in advance. You might not have any ill intentions for using this technique, but I'm afraid I'll have to erase you and this universe right away. It's all for the sake of maintaining the balance of everything, the Grand Priest firmly states. Hey, can I do it? The future Zeno asks. No, wait, this is Goku's universe. We shouldn't be erasing it, the other Zeno replies. You need not concern yourself with this, Zeno-sama, for I'll be the one who will destroy this universe and pave the way for a new era, the Grand Priest states. The Grand Priest was overflowing with life force, and his aura was only continuing to expand. Hey Kakarot, I don't think you can defeat this man, Vegeta says. I know, you seriously didn't have to provoke him even further either, Goku replies. Hey, it's still better than him realizing you're an imposter, Vegeta says. Listen, Vegeta, this might be the first time ever that we're confronting an opponent that we may never be able to defeat, but whatever, man. It's like I haven't fought anyone in more than 10,000 years. This adrenaline just doesn't stop, Goku replies. Hearing this, Vegeta seemed that he couldn't be more glad that Goku had completely woken up now. He unleashes his Omega state and dashes straight in, only this time, he was aware of the essence of this technique and was planning on using it in coherence with his other moves. Splendid warrior, what a man you are, Vegeta, the Grand Priest says. Despite realizing who you're up against, your eyes still haven't lost their flare. This might be the end for you, but you have my respect. Not good. Seems like Vegeta is sacrificing himself to sway the Grand Priest's attention away from Father, Gohan comments. Well, at least he isn't going down without a fight, Piccolo replies. Vegeta was propelling himself at an incomprehensible speed. It might seem like he had given up, and it was nothing but a suicide assault, but Vegeta was fully intent on taking down the Grand Priest here. Goku instantly recognized his intentions and started positioning himself accordingly. Let's do this, Vegeta, he says. As long as we can make him concede defeat, there is a tomorrow. Unfortunately, as fast and as hard as Vegeta was propelling himself, he was still very much not outside of the realm of space and time. The instant Vegeta was close enough to land a blow, and Goku had quite conveniently positioned himself behind the Grand Priest, everything came to a halt. Right then, in that very moment, everything was the Grand Priest's domain. There was a massive impact that resulted in the sweeping away of all of the nearby planets and stars, all because the Grand Priest had just punched an invisible hole through Vegeta's stomach. It was way too fast. Goku couldn't use Vegeta as bait to land one himself, and Vegeta couldn't lure in the Grand Priest. Everyone was flabbergasted around him. Gradually, we see Vegeta's eyes lose their light. Reality in front of him appears to be fading away, and yet the Grand Priest wasn't done. He makes sure to bestow upon him yet another powerful blow of the same tier. Vegeta was about to be instantly decimated at this point, and just like Gohan had said previously, even if he was 1,000 times stronger than he is now, he still wouldn't be able to match up to the Grand Priest, let alone defeat him. It is indeed theoretically impossible. Vegeta was already long unconscious. He might as well be dead if it weren't for the Destroyer Key he was given. And yet the Grand Priest still didn't let up. He was preparing for yet another attack. That's when two individuals react instinctively. Broly launches his strongest Omega Blaster yet. It starts off as a tiny lime green energy sphere, sneaks up on the Grand Priest, and immediately becomes the size of a black hole. Naturally, even something like this was of no concern to the Grand Priest. He simply waves his hand to distort the reality around him in order to melt and sweep away that blaster. But the tiny fraction of a second which was used to evade Broly's attack allowed Goku to slide in and rescue Vegeta. He then uses the instant transmission to get away. It's strange. If Father wanted, he could have easily decimated all three of them. Looks like even someone like him was craving for some good action, Whis says while joining Gohan and Piccolo. Say, Whis, if this universe was erased, you'd be deactivated as well, right? How can you be so calm in a moment like this, Gohan asks. Not at all, in fact, Whis replies. Deactivation would relieve me of my current duties. Plus, isn't death just the beginning of a new life? Goku and Broly have already gotten away and are maintaining a safe distance now, as Goku asks Vegeta, don't tell me you're already cooked. Of course, there was no reply from the unconscious Vegeta for more than 30 seconds, but then he subtly opens his eyes. There was something that everyone but the Grand Priest missed. Though the impact was astronomical, Vegeta successfully managed to use his reverse string technique to create a leeway for a hefty amount of that friction. This was how he survived two continuous blows from the Grand Priest. Listen, Kakarot, if you were to train and get stronger for 1,000 or even 1,000,000 years, you think you'll ever be able to defeat him? Vegeta asks. Ordinarily, no. This guy has plasma on his side, but I'm sure I can eventually defeat him when it comes to raw power, Goku replies. Alright, I have a proposition then. Let's do the fusion dance, Vegeta firmly states. His eyes might have lost a bit of light, but he still had that flare. Can you even stand up, let alone do the dance, Goku asks. Don't worry about that, I still have the Patara earrings I was supposed to give to the new Supreme Kai, Vegeta replies. Wait, are you sure about this? You have the Destroyer Key and I have the Chaotic Omni Key. Forget being able to revert back to ourselves, we might not even retain consciousness, Goku says. The Grand Priest knew they were planning something, but still chose to not interfere. But he was indeed going to personally destroy everything about Universe 7 and merge its residue with the rest of the universes. An unconventional way of considering how the previous universes were literally erased by Zeno, but this is what he was planning to do. Broly, listen. This is our last attempt. There will be no other chances, but I want you to stay out of this. Even if we were to somehow manage to make the Grand Priest take back his decision, it's impossible for him to let us live considering what our powers imply now. In that case, I entrust you with the pride of the Saiyan race, Vegeta says, pausing for a second, and then he continues. I implore you, train Gohan and Kakarot's other son, Trunks too. Bola is a little too young for this, but she'll eventually pull through. Be fair to your Saiyan brethren in Universe 6, and don't forget to get yourself a son as well. Your genes are too valuable, Broly. As long as you guys live on, the Saiyan race will strive and prosper. Broly just kinda stood there listening to Vegeta silently. Goku as well knew that this was indeed their final battle. This was different from death though. There was no telling what would happen if they were to be deactivated or erased. What's gonna happen to their souls? But that's not what the two of them were thinking about right now. Their minds were in a state of endless flow. This was a fight to ensure the survival of their universe once again. Goku pats Broly on the back and says, I can't think of anyone better to leave everything to. He then looks at Gohan from afar, their eyes matching, and says, and you too as well, my son. Goku's words could definitely not be heard by Gohan, but even so, Gohan knew what they implied. He lifts his hand and pulls out a big thumbs up. Gohan lets out a smile of reassurance. Let's do this, Vegeta. I'm glad I'll go out fighting the strongest opponent there is, Goku says. I share that same sentiment, Kakarot, but even if it is up against the strongest, I still want to win, Vegeta says, while forcibly pumping out all of his Destroyer Ki in coherence with his Omega state. Goku is conflicted about using his Omni Ki as it's still a separate entity inside of his body. In fact, this might as well be a fusion with 3 different life forms right now that they're trying. He tries to harness it for himself, but it always starts conflicting with his identity. Goku knows how risky it is to pull off a Potara fusion considering his current state, but they'll have to make do anyway. Meanwhile, Zenith and his companions were somewhat conflicted as well. Their entire plan revolved around crowning Zenith as the new Omni King, or at least making the new Omni King one of them. Despite the millions of years they've been around, they still had no idea that the Omni Key can't be stolen. It's something the multiverse itself must grant you with. Their entire approach was wrong. Well, Zenith, what should we do next? At this rate, this will be a repeat of what happened all those millions of years ago, Amarak says. It's beyond our control for now, Amarak, but this is far too interesting for me to just bail. Let's stick around and watch for a little bit, Zenith replies. Gohan and Piccolo also resolve to see this through to the end. For better or worse, this will be the last time they'll see Goku and Vegeta fight. Broly's killer instinct subsides and he composes himself. Even in this fight, he had grown so much. Looks like Goku and Vegeta will be using the fusion as their last resort, Whis comments. I think the same. Fusion has always been our trump card after all, Piccolo states. Hey, come on, why did you guys stop fighting all of a sudden? We're bored, the Zeno duo expresses. They were starving for more good entertainment. Vegeta was finally done harnessing all of his ki. He hands Goku one of the Potara, looks in the direction of the Earth one last time, and puts it on. Goku does the same. Just like that, a bright ray of light explodes. It can even be seen back on Earth. It wasn't comforting at all though, rather it brought some strange sense of uneasiness. Meanwhile, a certain someone was observing everything from a different realm. Whoa, did they really just do that? When was the last time I felt this excited while just watching a fight, this enigmatic individual states. As for when that light dissipates, a single presence is seen standing right in front of the Grand Priest. This presence was the epitome of chaos itself. Well, well, we feel so strong right now we can hardly stay conscious. It's too chaotic. Something like this should only be able to exist in a myth. Omni Goku and Omega Vegeta all wrapped into one. What should we call this form then? I think I've got it. With this power, I feel 100% omnipotent anyway, so how about Omni Vegito? Yes, that sounds alright to us. Doesn't that just have a ring to it, old man? Vegito says, talking to the Grand Priest. As the final battle between Omni Vegito and the Grand Priest is about to start.